So we're gonna be probing around in the book. The book and the homework is really that's the guts of what you learn from these two chapters, and we're going to jump around and then do a couple of practical things, and maybe have some discussion as well about those. So missions and objectives. So here's what Privet says, as you remember. Mission is the chief function or responsibility of an organization or institution. Mission answers the question, why? Right? Mission answers this question, why? Every organization has a mission. Right? What we all studied in the first two chapters is that the mission is something that maybe is not so well defined. Maybe it's not so clear. And then, of course, from that comes objectives that, what are the two things? They are either off-target, unbiblical targets, or unbalanced. What's the other one? Unbalanced objectives, or unbiblical targets. So, Psalm 11:3. What does that psalm say? If the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? The word foundations. What does that refer to? The word foundations. It's used in another place, and purpose, right? So philosophical, like foundations are philosophical. Foundations are principles. Foundations are like the most fundamental ideas, right? So, and if they be destroyed, what will the righteous do? That word destroyed there was three elements of that. Yosef, do you remember? Destroyed. Who remembers that? Yeah, Justin. Carelessness. Being careless. Could be attacked by an enemy, right? Carelessness, attacked by an enemy. Lack of study. Lack of definition, defining them. So destruction doesn't only happen that the enemy attacks, but also we can slide off of what Larry Crabb calls the foundation of truth. We can slide off of it through neglect or through just a lack of study. Homes have missions. Personally, you have a mission. The church also has a mission. And of course, if your life revolves around the church, which I hope it does, the church is the largest mass in the universe for man, right? Our lives revolve around it. It holds us in. The love of God, which is the gravity of God, pulls us in, keeps us in. And if we keep ourselves in the love of God, then of course we revolve around the church. Right? Because everything's about spinning. Humanity is all about spinning, right? Actually, creation is all about spinning. God's the only one that's sitting still. Everybody else is just dizzy out of our minds because we're spinning so quickly. The atoms that hold us together, electrons spinning at a speed, an incredible speed. We're just spinning, but God is not. So we revolve life. Human life really, ideally in God's mind, it does revolve around the church because the church is. What is the word glory? This is the next chapter, but the word glory is this word weight. It has the sense of something that is weighty, significant, or attractive. So you could say that God, like the black hole. Sometimes I think the black hole is actually heaven. That it's where God's glory is, where the mass is so huge that even light cannot escape it. Anyway, don't know that. Okay, So what question then does the mission answer again? Why? Why are we doing what we're doing? Okay, so the mission should include who's the target, what's being done for them or offered to them, and how it is to happen. Here are some examples. Here's the Marriott's mission: to provide economy and quality-minded travelers with a premium, moderate-priced lodging facility which is consistently perceived as clean, comfortable, well-maintained, and attractive, staffed by friendly, attentive, and efficient people. Can you see how that mission statement can drive a lot of activity? Can you see how it really kind of nails a lot of different things about who our audience are? People that are picky. And we want to have premier, moderately priced lodging that's comfortable, clean, and also our staff is friendly. So you can hear them preaching that down the halls of the Marriott. Oops. McDonald's, you wonder, right across the street, let's see if they hit it. To provide the fast food customer, that's you, Yossi. To provide the fast food customer food. Praise the Lord. What did they hit the target? I don't know. Something close anyway. Does food have to be something that you can exist only on it? Like if you ate it and only it and you died, would it be food? Because I know that they did an experiment on McDonald's and a person who ate only McDonald's, and within 3 months they had liver failure and all kinds of trouble. Like you can't live on it. So whether it actually falls into the category of food is another question. If you can't live on it, I'm not sure it's food. If you could live a day on it, so maybe I guess that's food. To provide the fast food customer food prepared in the same high-quality manner worldwide that has consistent taste, serving time, and price in a low-key decor and a friendly atmosphere. Is that a decor over there, or is that a decor? Yeah, Evan. It is.
It is not. It is not.
Well, actually, you're right. It's not. It's not. If you went to McDonald's in Austria, it is so good. The McCafe is like you can get fresh brewed cappuccinos at McCafe. I mean, and pastry shops, and so they're not all the same. So I don't know what they're talking about. But let's go to a couple of churches and what their mission statements are. I like most mission statements are mission statements are supposed to be thought out enough that they are short and succinct. That it's not like a book. Here's my mission statement. It's like a book. But so this one kind of fits that bill. The church seeks, Riverside Church, New York City, big place. The church seeks to be a community of faith. Its members are united in the worship of God, known in Jesus the Christ through the inspiration of the Holy Spirit. The mission of the church is to serve God through word and witness, to treat all human beings as sisters and brothers, and to foster responsible stewardship of all God's creation. All right, it's a little bit sappy, sicky sweet, but the point is we don't need to critique. We critique McDonald's. We critique this. It's just the church. It's a mission statement. That's the point. I'm not saying this is a good mission statement for a church. Okay, here's the World Harvest Church in Canal, Winchester, Ohio. You can imagine the corn country. One church, one heart, one purpose. These 6 words describe the world harvest better than any flowery written statement a focus group could create. It tells you who we are, why we gather together. They got a problem with focus groups. Clearly. It's right in their mission statement. We would just like to, obviously, maybe the board somebody brought up, let's have a focus group come in And they said, we can do it ourselves. We don't need a focus group to come in. In fact, we're going to put it in our mission statement. We don't need a focus group. Let all of posterity know, and the world around know that we do not need a focus group to come in and tell us. Okay, anyway. You may find that your own family is seldom under the same roof at the same time, but that doesn't change the fact that your bonds are easily broken. Aren't easily broken. That's the way it is with the body of believers at World Harvest. We meet in different places at different times and days of the week in large groups and small ones, and we express our faith in settings throughout central Ohio and around the world, but we're still one church. All right, okay, so this mission, you can imagine the board getting together and trying to make critical decisions based on this mission statement. All right, listen, we can't all be in one place at the same time. Because our mission statement says that we will be scattered around Ohio and even the world. That is vital to our mission statement. So that must be the one church. Okay, our one heart is to share a deep and abiding. It's nice reading people's mission statements, just mocking them and making fun when we don't even know them. No, our one heart is to share a deep and abiding love for God, His Son Jesus, His Word, the Bible, and His people, both inside the church and out, because the Bible tells us that others will come to know Him because of our love for each other. That's our one heart, and one purpose is to spread His gospel. As many people as we can, in every way we can, as long as we can, we would love to widen our circle to receive you and your family. All right, so the mission statement, okay, this really is a little bit, it's an example of a mission statement that doesn't really meet the need of a mission statement. It has some elements of it, but of course, it's an invitation to go to church. You know, that's not. It's not what it's like. At the end of the McDonald's mission statement, you know, they would say, "And please come. Our burgers are on sale this week." You know, as part of the mission statement. Okay. So the origination of the church is not something to be derived or decided by man. The church is something God has done. Right? So the church itself, when you think about the church has originated by God. It's not something, we are not trying to figure out what the church is, nor are we trying to create one. Right? The church has been started by God. It happened, when did it start? At Pentecost, right? When the church was born, conceived, and from hi Pastor Pete. Hey, we're talking tomorrow, right? Yes. Yeah, well, rightfully so. Close that door on your way out, would you? Okay, so the point is with this is that the origination of the church, and this was Privet's point at the end of the chapter, the church came into existence. God is the one who brought it into existence. It is the mission of the church that we are to derive. That is our responsibility, and He has put that mission in His Word. So that's what we're spending our next few weeks doing, is deriving the mission statement. We have one at Greater Grace. It could be that the elders got together and put the three major things that we concentrate on. It didn't include things like worship and fellowship and it wasn't fully orbed. It was more like our emphasis, the teaching, the propagation, and then also the practicing of our faith, So this should be a very good study for all of us, and I'm enjoying the book very much. He's a very straightforward guy, and he's a good contrast to David Platt, who is he's kind of a radical, spacey, he's just a lot different. And they're both pastors of very large assemblies, and they both wrote these books, and they're really both about the mission of the church. So objectives. Objectives are things worked for or striven for a goal. In other words, the things done to accomplish a mission. So we could say that objectives maybe answer, what other questions could an objective answer? If mission says why, what are objectives? Ashley? How, perhaps. Also, what? And then maybe who? Right? To whom are we going? What are we doing? And then how are we going to do it? More so the who and the what, but the how also is obviously important. So objectives of the church are the things the church actually does. Okay, tell me about these ideas. Give me some examples of unbiblical targets. Yes, Severine. Growthism, or what? I'm not sure what numberism. I thought he had isms on all of them, didn't he? Yeah. Tell me, just think, exercise the fourth purpose of the function of the mind, which is remembering. Oh no, numerical growth. Pragmatism. I like I'll read it just because I think his description is a good one. Tradition, and listen, this isn't like the Catholics. I mean, okay, the Catholics are traditional. I mean, a pope has not resigned since 1400 or whatever, 14 something, right? They don't break a lot of rules, They're like following the same old thing, So that they really get off on being traditional. Doing what we have always done the way we have always done it. Could greater grace be traditional? Yeah, we could. How many times have we heard? Well, that's not the way Pastor did it. How many times have we heard that? Well, we've done it this way for 30 years. And the reason to say that is that's a reason to keep doing it the same way. What is that? That is traditionalism. Let's do it because that's the way we've always done it. It's always worked. People like it. Nobody wants to change. Okay, traditionalism. Sorry, I get off on that one. Pragmatism, doing what works or what others say works. Let's do it because it works. Well, pragmatism, I think about Justin. Justin is a very pragmatic guy. When he needs to get 9 players, from one place to the other, and you only have one car, Justin is very pragmatic, How do you, you put some on the roof, you put some in the trunk, you just stack them on top of each other, and just as long as there's room to move your foot as the driver, one could sit on the stick shift, and he's just a pragmatist, he's a pragmatist, doing what works or what others say works. The target of consumerism, doing what people want or feel they need. Consumerism. Seeker-friendly. Like, what do people want? That's what we'll give them. Right? What do people want? Let's go find out what people want. That's what we'll give them. Young people really like loud. They really, have you noticed how many people go to concerts? They love the concert environment. That's what they want. Let's give it to them. Lights and smoke and loud, and churches in America today, the church growth movement in America today can in some way. I had a niece who went to Andy Stanley's church outside of Atlanta. Right, they have, I think, 3 or 4 campuses. He's got just gobs of people going there. It's amazing. Quite an organization. He's quite a guy. I've been to a seminar that he did with Craig Groeschel, and they're great guys. But when she went there, everything is so, it's like kids, kids world. You know, like the kids world is like going to Disneyland. You know, it's amazing. All painted and you go like the first graders is like a jungle, and the second graders is like an ocean, and there, you know, all of God's creation is like the name of it. You know, it's amazing. The kids, the nursery, they have like these swings, you know, that kids, the kind you crank up and they go. There's like 20 of them lined up along the wall, and then kids just laying in them, you know, just keep them rocking, you know. Somebody just doing the multiplexing, you know, just making sure that they're all rocking. Anyway, consumerism, numerical growth, we know what that is. If it brings numbers, let's do it. Because our goal is to have more people. You know, really? Is that the goal of the church, to have more people? I remember Jesus preaching a message and everybody left. He didn't have to say, you got to eat my body and drink my blood, you know. He could have been a little bit more culturally sensitive. He could have, you know, I mean, it's sure he could have asked Peter or John. They would have given him some advice. Lord, if you want to keep these people around, you got to keep healing them. Don't ask them to chew on your arms. Because they're going to perceive that as kind of weird, you know. You really shouldn't have preached that message. Now, look, all of them went. You know, well, Lord never made any mistakes, so obviously that's not the number one feature of the church is numerical growth, though the church did grow numerically. It's the first message, how many people got saved? 3,000, right? Didn't he kill 1,000 Philistines with a jawbone of an ass? No. Samson killed 1,000 Philistines with a jawbone of an ass, but the Lord saved 3,000 people with the jawbone of Peter. That's amazing. Peter. Entertainment, you know, doing what will make people feel comfortable or what will make the church seem fun. We go through these all the time. I mean, we have what's called a team management meeting, and it's like all the pastors that are on staff sit with Pastor Schaller and talk to him about ideas about what should we do in service, and what will bring people, and having a dinner or having a concert or having a this or having a that. We go through these. These are not. It's not difficult to get to get off track, and we'll talk about how. Something a little bit more practical and near the end of this part. The target of activities, fun, 3-letter F word. We don't not use that. The church, what? It's no fun. There was a Russian guy. His name was, I think it was Alexei. The guy had a very difficult life, beaten and an orphan, and he was a leader in the church, you know. And it bugged him so much that Americans get over there and they just talk about how much fun it is to go soul winning, you know. And he's like, fun? What do we care about fun? What has fun got to do with anything? You know, is it part of the mission of the church? We must have fun. It's like an American word. You can't even translate it into most languages. The French struggle with it. You know, we're talking about, in the Hungarians, they call it a party. You know, we're going to party. Buli, you know, we're going to have a party. That's what fun is, because fun is like, so the French just create a word called fun. Yeah, we just have fun, you know. It's, don't ask me what the definition is. The Americans know, you know. It's this empty thing they all have as the top priority. If you don't do it, you're bored. You know that. If you don't have fun, then you're bored. That's how it goes. Okay, then the last is popularity. Of course, Pastor Shibeli constantly is telling us he's not looking for a job or trying to win a popularity contest. That's for the politicians. So, these are traps. These are unbiblical targets. I have a good quote here. It lists really things that very practically we deal with every day. Tired pastors. I think this is, who is this that said this? Lloyd Perry. Yeah, so tired pastors run from conference to conference, implementing each new program that they hear about while stretching their tired staff across 4 or 5 unrelated areas and maxing out their core of volunteers. Right? When you think about, this is like the core of the church. You have the pastors, you have the programs that we do, like the objectives that we do, the staff, which is obviously the paid staff, and the core of volunteers. And in our church, you can't quite tell the paid from the volunteers. It's all the same, which is amazing, and which is the way, really, I believe it should be. But guaranteed, I'll tell you, if this is the case, you have a tired pastor, you have a tired staff, because they're stretched and being told they have what's called, good term to know, initiative fatigue. Initiative fatigue. It's leaders that constantly want to change. The staff gets really sick of doing that. It's like, oh no, are we going to learn another new piece of software? Oh no, are we going to start another program? Go to another training? Go to another seminar? Like, we didn't get done with the last one. It's called initiative fatigue. When the pastor, the staff, and the core volunteers start getting tired because of all the activities, then the congregation knows it. He doesn't mention the congregation here, but they're the one that all those people are serving. Right? I mean, that's the purpose. Without the congregation, those 4 wouldn't exist. There'd be no pastors, no programs, no staff, and no volunteer, because the congregation is, they know it when those things are happening. And so that's a good statement. And then what can you tell me about unbalanced objectives? What kind of church is unbalanced? What could a church have as an emphasis that's just unbalanced? Doesn't mean they're unbiblical, but they could be unbalanced. Justin? Yeah, like helping the poor. Muhib and I were talking about that. David Platt. It's like, maybe it's unbalanced that spirituality equals poverty. That I need to give up everything because I give everything to missions, because I give everything to the poor. Really, I mean, I understand that true religion is visiting the fatherless and taking care of the poor, right? This is the verse in James chapter 5 that he uses. But it seems like where's the other. I know they do have all the other pieces, but that seems unbalanced. But anyway, what's another unbalanced objective? Yeah, Mary.
Evangelism?
Yeah, evangelism. Could be. I mean, we evangelize a lot. We're like really into evangelism. And Pastor Schaller clearly is not preaching an evangelism message on Sunday morning. Right? This is not like Pastor Schaller's ABC course on getting saved over and over and over and over. We don't have that problem at all. The first time visitor comes in and they get like Pastor Schaller just to the max. There's no difference, nighttime, morning time, who's out there. Pastor Schaller is preaching a very, and really, I think, a very deep and a very complex message. Pastor Steve was talking about writing books, Writing a book from Pastor Shibeli. Pastor Shibeli starts with a word, says it 20 or 25 times with an example for every time he has said it, right? Writing a book for Pastor Shibeli is an easy thing for Pastor Steve. You listen to the message, one example. It's very, very linear, Pastor Love is exactly the same way. He grabs onto a theme. He's like the preacher of preachers, Pastor Love. He's like a homiletic genius. If you drop him into any situation, he like reads the crowd and just knows how to preach to that group of people. He's really, really amazing, a genius. But Pastor Schaller starts and he just goes, And Pastor Steve said he's very difficult to try to write a simple book about because of the way that he preaches, And So they were talked about it in evangelistic, unbalanced in evangelism is because all the messages are geared toward a new person, but what about the disciples, It's more, we are more like, Pastor Schaller says, I'm teaching the disciples. That's why we come to church. And unsaved people get what you can. I hope you understand the salvation prayer. We're going to give you like a minute of salvation of the gospel and then give you an opportunity to get saved. And, okay, what's another one? Fellowship church. Fellowship church. Lots and lots of just fun activities that we do together as a church. Should there be any fun in a church? Andy, should there be any fun in a church? Of course. By the strict American definition of the word, not boredom. We should have, of course, should we have fellowship? Of course we should have fellowship, but we just need to be balanced. So then the answer, the jet pilot, right? The jet pilot, two things a fighter pilot needs. I have a mission. What is the mission? We are going to have very specific, we are going to go on a bomb run, and we are going to go to bomb Berlin in 1943. I got nothing against Berlin. I love I love Germany's rule of the European Union. Not everyone does, but objective, we're going to bomb Berlin. I mean, that's the mission. What are our objectives? Every pilot needs objectives, right? What am I going to do? But if the pilot, what could mess up, what could cause failure? What's that? Missing the target. Yeah, there's the target. Of course, what did it say about the kid? He always hits the target. Why? Yeah, he just shoots his arrow and goes and puts the target around it, and he always hits the bullseye. Yeah, that.
To midway kind of lose focus and why am I doing this? Kind of turn around. And how do I, if he doesn't know exactly how to, or the group achieve it, then even though they know why, they won't have the necessary tools.
Yeah, we're going to go bomb Berlin, but then you have 5 pilots bombing the same building, and the other 4 don't get bombed, right? They did their mission, but they did not, but they failed their objective. Daniel, did you have something to say?
Yeah, either human failure or mechanical failure, and then there's also another one that is disobeying like the orders.
I know better.
Compromising, thinking that you are better than you know better than the person who's giving you orders.
Yeah, who gave you the orders. I know what really should happen, yeah. And, so, again, mission can be right, but objectives not carried out. Of course, the mission can be right. And we're going to spend the whole book talking about the mission. So, Saul's an example. Oh, wait, let me continue. Okay. I got into the book. I should just stick with my notes here. Okay, an example of how the mission statement, as simple as it is, becomes the executive decision maker, in the basket or out of the basket. Okay, what things we do would cause us to cease to exist as an organization. So here's the thing: we're going to go to the practical and kind of go away from the book. Let's take a look at GGWO. Whoa. Is that? Okay. GGWO, okay. I think it was 1965, plus or minus. I don't know that date. I completely winged that. Okay. So forgive me. It could have been, I worked backwards from 45 years and tried to, anyway, it's around there. It's in, okay, with a pastor and 3 praying women. Right, that's Pastor Stephen started it. By 2004, GGWO had grown into a very large church. We had a staff of 160, local church here, offerings of about $65,000 a week. and churches in many countries around the world, with about 40 in the United States. When the transition happened in 2000, really it was 2003 to 2005. Really 2003 to 2007, we could say. 2003 is when the ground started trembling under our feet. The perfect storm came in at the end of 2004. And then we just picked up pieces and just held on for dear life for the next 2 years until 2007, which is when we had the Thursday night. Remember Missions Night at convention, where Pastor Schaller was like lifted up over the heads of people? That was finally, it wasn't until that point that we really felt like, wow, we're going to survive. Wow, God is so faithful. It's amazing. I cannot believe this is. So it was, the transition was kind of a long period. But we lost 33% of our income to what it is today. Our budget today is $41,000 a week, which is still a lot of money, but which is more money than any church that I have, no church that I have seen has the percentage based on the people of income that we have based on our people. Our people, you all, we are amazing. Our church is really amazing. Anyway, we lost 33% of our income and had to lay off 25% of our staff. We were forced to do something that should have happened anyway. We weren't really contemplating it, but we had to weigh what we were doing against our mission. Are we hitting the target? Are we hitting the target? Okay, when you lose 25% of your staff, that's a problem. First of all, how are you going to, what kind of questions do you have to ask when you're laying off staff? Anybody here get laid off? I don't think. Evan. Can we live without them? Can you live without them? When they go on vacation, do you notice they're gone? Can you live without them? Are they doing something that is critical? When you only have so much staff, we had this picture. You have a person, it's the church, right? It's a body. There's some body fat. Everybody has body fat, right? We were lean and mean. The second round of cuts, it wasn't cutting fat off the body. We were hacking into good muscle. It was painful. The operation was painful. It's not like you're not doing a good job or whatever. It's that someone's got to go. And it's not like, well, which one has the best chance of making money out in the real world? You know, you could ask that question, but then you're going to let people go that you'd like to have on staff, you know. You can't ask that question. You can't ask, how are they going to survive out there? What about their family? Where are they going to live? How are they going to keep their kids in Christian school? If you start asking all those questions, it paralyzes you. It paralyzes you. When you look out, you have to think, no faces, no histories. This is like survival of our organization. You can't have individual relationships trump survival of the very organization that you're supposedly there to take care of. Right? So the leaders of the church have to take care of the church. If they also have to take care of individual people's household income, that's an unworkable situation. It can't happen like that. I have to be able to lay you off based on what's best and good for the church. Sorry, here's your pink slip. And some have said, administrators make the decisions and let people who have a gift of mercy deliver the bad news. Because some people are good at delivering bad news and some people aren't. It's sort of like, David, listen, we're making cuts, you're cut. It's the way it is, man. It's the way it is. Let me know if I can write you a letter of recommendation, all right? Done. Okay, it doesn't have to be that painful. It can be, we had, and one, I don't know if you guys remember, some of you are old enough to remember, 5 years ago or something. Do you remember it was a night it was a GGCA night, and we said goodbye to like 8 people. Like really great people. Marty Vietor, Pastor Morneau, Mrs. Colby. I mean, it was carnage. It was brutal. It was more like a face-to-face service than it was like a GGCA night. But you have to say thank you. We have to say goodbye. We love you. Give them the women a bouquet of flowers. You can't be so remorseful about people. You got to make decisions. You see what I mean? It's difficult. How do you do that? You know what you do? You got to figure out what's the basket. That's your mission. And what's in the basket and what's out of the basket. Is Greater Grace Christian Academy in our survival basket? If Greater Grace Christian Academy no longer existed, could the church still exist? Can we still do our mission? Yes. It's out of the basket. Is it important? Is it important to our leadership, the church, the school? Yeah, we subsidize the school. For the first 5 years of operation of our school, our church subsidized the school $100,000 a year to keep it alive. That's a lot. That's commitment. That's our elders saying, we love our school and we want our school. That's amazing. But I'll tell you what, if it got to where the church cannot do that, I'll tell you what's going to go first. It's not going to be the things critical to our mission. It's not going to be the Bible college. It's not going to be. Because the church is really our only responsibility to children. What is our responsibility as a church for the children, do you think? Sunday school. Right? That is like critical to our mission, that we train our kids in the Bible, But reading, writing, and arithmetic, and biology, and history, and all that stuff, the church is like mandated by God. You gotta show me some fine print in your King James version. Must be the Amplified, right? To say that that's our responsibility. We love it, and we love offering a place of refuge. But parents can homeschool if they really are serious about their kids not being in a worldly secular school. And maybe that's not possible. I would believe God has a way. But anyway, we went to the mission statement to figure out what is our goal. So an example is our calendar. I'm going to show you something. We have 4 areas in our calendar, why we do things in our calendar. Fundraisers, Christian public relations, social and fun. Andy. Social and fun. No, Andy it's not fun. It's, what is it? Life. That's what it is. You get it right. And then teaching, propagating, practicing. Okay? So it's not so crystal clear. When you take an event like, we had an event called Friendship Banquet. Anybody ever remember that? Your dad worked on those with me. Friendship Banquet. We invited people. It was a fundraiser for the Bible College. Business people bought meals at a table at an event, and we gave them away to business people and different people to populate the room with as many MBC&S sympathetic rich people we could find. Okay, granted, it ended up being wayfaring Bible college students and in the dorm, and there was a lot of philanthropy going on, which I was like, what part of fundraiser do you not get? Giving away free meals to like weeping skinny or not so skinny Bible college students is not the goal here. But anyway, it got a little bit convoluted, and you got to watch out for the political stuff when you get into an organization. So, is that our mission? How much work does it take to do that? You know how much work it took to do it? Me, full-time for 3 months. My assistant, full-time for longer than that. Adam Nathanson making calls and doing work like crazy. Pastor Wright calling people like crazy. Lots of volunteers, lots of energy. And when it was all said and done, we made $8,000. All right, now you got to ask yourself, and it didn't pay our salaries. So, I mean, you work it all out. Guys, we're kidding ourselves. This is not a fundraiser. After you pay everybody, we didn't make a plug nickel. We are kidding ourselves. We dragged that screaming event out back and shot it. Oh, no, I need to be here. Shut up, get over here. Okay, we just wipe that off the calendar. Wow, life just got a lot more peaceful around here. Now what am I going to do? Hey, let's look at the mission statement. Maybe we should do something on there. A fundraiser should at least raise fund, you know. Okay, anyway. Christian public relations is another one. I think you worked on Shane and Shane. Okay, Shane and Shane was an awesome concert. I think the best part was Phil Wickham. It was before he was famous, you know. He was kind of long hair, and the way he sang was kind of freaky. freaked us all out. We're like, woo! But he had an amazing gospel message. But Phil Wickham, Shane and Shane took us a whole lot of work to make it happen. We had posters and tracts and just trying to fill this auditorium, and the net result of the whole thing cost us $6,000 to bring them. We netted $8,000. We made like $2,000 on the thing. And we just looked at each other and said, why did we do that? Well, what did it do for us? Everybody in the building was saved. Phil Wickham was preaching to the choir. Oh, well, they got to see Greater Grace. They got to see that Greater Grace is really, really cool. They got to look at our building and see how, it's not as ugly as you think. Look at inside. They got to know that we're not like some weirdos or something. We enjoyed Shane and Shane also. So we coined that Christian public relations. And then we asked ourselves, is Christian public relations our mission? Answer, no. Okay. Well, what about Jason Gray, Pastor Brian? We did have Bebo Norman after that, too. We made the decision after Bebo Norman, actually. Bebo Norman, I think we did a little bit better on him. He didn't cost as much. He was also didn't offend us as much. Shane and Shane was just a little bit too in your face, for Greater Grace. Someone should write a song about that. Anyway, we had Bebo Norman. Then we took him off the calendar. So, is that the end? Okay. I want to show you something, if I can. Okay, so this is what we did, right? This is you can look at under B, right? Here, I can make it bigger. Whoops. Try to make, okay. So here you see on the left, you see the event. The date of the event is on the right, okay? So we were trying to figure out, with this list, there's Bebo, 4/12/2008. With this list, what stays and what goes? NBCNS graduation. We decided to keep it. And the breakfast. And the breakfast. And it's not so cut and dry. It's not so cut and dry. It looks like most of these... Father's Day service, concert in the park. It looks like this is maybe the NBCNS golf tournament. I was kind of a hated person. Guys, what are we doing with the golf tournament? You know how much we work on the golf tournament and what it even costs us? What do we get from the golf tournament? Well, when you're all said and done, you get a check. Really? How big? Oh, $1,000. $1,000 for a golf tournament and all that we do on it? This had a lot of people attached to it, too. Drag it out back. And then all of a sudden, the thing's back in the church. It's got like 9 lives or something. You can't kill the golf tournament. It's still on our calendar.
Yeah, but it's not the people in the church doing it, right? It's volunteers.
Yeah. That's why. Well, actually, no, but that's the right answer. What we said is, if these events, actually, the NBCNS, what used to be called the Firefly, no, the Snowflake Banquet, right? It used to be this. It was kind of a big. Sorry, I didn't. Some kind of. It was a banquet, and it was a big deal, and we put that into social and fun. We're going to have a banquet. What do we do in the world? Somebody gives a message. Well, listen, you can't say because somebody gives a 10-minute message that all of a sudden the whole event becomes like pure and mission pristine, you know? Like, we can do whatever we want. At the Bible study, at the golf tournament, there's an evangelical message. All right, time out. Is this a fundraiser? Or is this an evangelical outreach, And if it's an outreach, my Lord, how much outreach could we do with the amount of energy we expend to hit a golf? Guys, you want to golf. Let's get it down to what what it's really about. We want to hang out and play golf, man. We had the golf tournament at Pine Grove Golf Course. I don't know if you know it's up in Lost in Pennsylvania somewhere. Some tiny little golf course with a tiny clubhouse. It's a classless society, right? It's just like, where we have it now? Mountain Branch. Mountain Branch, that's a classy place. You feel good about yourself playing golf at Mountain Branch. Nobody had any good feeling about playing golf up at Pine Grove, so we don't play golf at Pine Grove anymore. All right, so anyway, if you want it to exist, you do it, but we're not doing it, right? We're not doing it. So, all right, we still have a website that we do. So this thing has, I've dragged it out. I got wounds. I have wounds because I'm the guy who hates this amazing fundraiser that loves the Bible College. I don't hate it at all. I'm just trying to stay consistent with our idea about our missions and how much we spend to do it. So now the brochure is done by somebody else. It depends. It's different, the group. So we have worked it out. I'm very thankful with the golf tournament. But it's an example, because I saw it on here. It's like, what is that doing on there? It's still alive. The thing just kind of was like, it's a golf tournament. I thought I shot you. No, but we have another, and we talked to Pastor Schaller. That's like, oh. Well, I'm going to talk to Pastor Schaller too, okay? You don't mind, do you? Oh, the reason it's on the calendar is because Pastor Schaller says body life, yes. Yes, NBCNS, it is a thing that promotes NBCNS. People, it is an evangelical thing. Let's leave it on. But the amount of work that we actually have to do as far as the church, as far as how many offering dollars go to make that happen, it's very few. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy where it is. But you can see how the decisions all. Is there a sportsman's retreat on there? No. There used to be, we used to do, youth trips, youth events. We used to have fall, right? Marlboro. Do we do that anymore? Nope. You know why? Does it cost money? It costs we thought about these elements when you're thinking about those events. First of all, how busy are we? How busy are we asking our parents to be? How much money does a right-on parent need to pay in order to negotiate their child safely through all of the things that our youth department is saying, Oh, you got to go to the youth rally. Oh, you got to go to this ski. Oh, you got to go to the other. We had like a few events. And on top of that, Camp Life and Summer Harvest. You start adding those things up, like if a parent sends their kids to those things, it's like $2,500 a year or something, you know. So, and the work that we have to do, and here's the question, what happens when it goes away? What happens when it doesn't exist anymore? If church life is not changed significantly, then this thing is not necessary. And again, we're talking about limited staff that we laid off. We laid off Pastor Rob, full-time administrator. Now we have, praise the Lord, Pete Westera. I don't even know where he came from. He is a gift from God. The guy just is amazing. Amazing. He doesn't work for us, but he works for us. He works 40 hours a week for us and then runs his business and also pays for, he's just incredible. Thank the Lord. But the only other paid staff we had was Pastor Love's secretary, which got transferred into Kate, and we drew the great divide, you know, the great divide there, that corridor that now Pastor Love doesn't have the secretary anymore. Why doesn't Pastor Love get a secretary? Well, because if you look around campus at who has secretaries, who has a secretary that's paid? Pastor Brian? No. Pastor Shabelli? No. His secretary is not paid. Pastor Taggart? No. Pastor Aiden, secretary? No. Linda, but she's not his secretary. There's nobody on campus except Pastor Charlotte has a secretary. His second secretary, Melissa, is a volunteer. So, let's keep it consistent. Pastor Love, how about typing school? No, God has been so faithful to Pastor Love. He's given Pastor Love a secretary that has really been a great blessing. Angina is amazing. She really is amazing and helps a great deal. But that was a hard decision. That's not easy stuff to do. But when you're talking about a finite budget, right? Hey, let's hire somebody. Don't we need them? Sure. Who are we going to fire? I mean, I think, yeah, you need somebody. But who are you going to fire? Oh, you want to get up in the pulpit and ask our people for more money? Right? We got to get more money from our people? It's like, wow, who wants to do that? $2.4 million a year these people give. We give. $2.4 million a year. That's tons of money, man. So, anyway, you can see, and money is only one of the resources, but money relates to many activities, and I'm so thankful that on our all staff and volunteers, we have about 275 or 375 volunteers that make this happen, not including who goes out on outreach on Saturday morning. It's like an army of people that are revolving around this little local assembly, and it's really incredible. But this is a good example of what he's talking about. Over 40 years, we just had things that, this is what Greater Grace does. This is what the youth ministry does. This is what we do. These are events that we have. You know, we only have one fundraiser on our calendar that's sanctioned fundraiser only. Do you know what it is? Gosh, Evan, you got all the right answers. How did you know that? Yeah, it's Grace Hour Banquet. The only one that was left on, okay, we will do that. And even that, you know how much work it was to put on a banquet here? We used to do the banquet in the family center, right? Holy cow, are you kidding me? 3 weeks before or 4 weeks before convention, sometimes 3 weeks before convention, the same weekend as NBCNS graduation and all that means, and we're going to put on a banquet for 400 people. Why are we doing this? We might as well flog ourselves with a cat of nine tails. Like, what's the benefit? And then it's like, well, we only pay $25 a plate for food. No, we don't. No, we don't. We work our tails off. People that we pay salaries work their tails off. And not only that, they have to work overtime that we don't pay them for, but it's kind of in the formula. Scott Dubé is like a hero. You know, when it takes a hero to run the ministry and only heroes can do that, there's something wrong. Isn't there? This guy, look at him. He's the only person who ever could run that ministry. Look at him. Because you got to do it day and night, never knowing what's going to happen. Everything's thrown at him. He's juggling 500 balls. Who can do that? Only heroes. Or you could, A, not do it at all. Yeah, but then a hero dies. Well, sometimes the death of heroes is a good thing, because all those balls he's juggling, what if you stop juggling all the balls and give them to people? The hero goes away. Yeah, well, that's why God told Moses to delegate. Because we don't need the hero, Moses. You're a great guy. Everybody thinks you're amazing. And they're praying for you because you're so tired. But Jethro's got some advice for you. You don't need to be tired. And there's other people that would like to do it. And if you don't let them do it, they're going to become your greatest critic. So let's take a break, and we'll do the grand finale in how long? 5 minutes. Okay, just enough time to go do what you got to do if you got to do it.